Hey there guys, before we get started with today's video, just wanted to let you know 3 nights, 4 days still on Indiegogo, and we are almost at the goal. In fact, we're less than $2,000 away. We still have original art available for sale. We still have Be in the Book tiers for sale. We actually opened up more tiers for getting a sketch as well, so if you want a sketch from the artist Preston Acevedo in your Art of 3 Nights, 4 Days book, that is the tier for you. Link is going to be in the description. Definitely check that out. So one thing that I thought was really cool that I read today while I was in the midst of working on the Peregrine crossover with Inglewood and on top of working on design documents for the upcoming Project Lazarus, I took a little bit of time to get on Twitter and have a look around and see if there's any cool articles that were out. And one was a discussion with Jon Favreau about the importance of fans. And I thought that this is something that needed to be emphasized. And here's a great quote from the article here. And it says, "You put something out in the world and it echoes back at you. You have to listen. It's not a one-way street. It's a two-way street. You have to feel the energy of the audience. But when you come from comedy, and when I was doing improv back in Chicago, that's it. You have to read the room. You have to feel the room. You have to be in community with the audience. You have to be part of it." So, there is a good point said here that I was actually going to mention, is that doesn't mean that projects should be solely dictated by fan pressure. Otherwise, most movies and TV shows would feel like fan-made content, which isn't good as well. What Favreau means is that creatives should know their target market, and with the rise of social media, it's not difficult to crack this down, since everyone is expressing their thoughts on their chosen platforms. And that's something that definitely, I don't know if he could be more correct here. Because the fact of the matter is that, and I thought that this was really cool because I think that Favreau mentioned that when he was talking to George Lucas, and Lucas is a big student of The Hero of a Thousand Faces by Joseph Campbell. Basically, this idea that the hero story tends to be for certain audiences, and certain people are going to draw different things from it. But ultimately, what everybody is going to like is the hero's journey. Going out, facing the supposed dragon, and all of the struggles that come with it. And what Favreau did, and I think that what made The Mandalorian so successful, as opposed to the struggles that The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker had, was that it followed that same track to the letter and didn't try to muck about and didn't try to didn't try to deconstruct and didn't try to subvert expectations. Because oftentimes whenever you try to subvert expectations, if you're not able to add a twist or something like that that's good or enjoyable or makes sense, it's all going to fall flat on its face. One of my favorite YouTubers, and one of the few YouTubers I watch, Maximilian, actually made a really good point when he was, oddly enough, discussing the friendships for Mortal Kombat 11. There is one of them in there, Sindel's, that subverts expectations. And the point that he made was that, yeah, you can subvert expectations if you want, but if you subvert those expectations and the whole act falls flat on its face, it wasn't worth it in the first place. So, when it comes right down to it, this is sort of how this is how I, look at the work that I do as well, because I feel like fans are an important thing. I think that that's something that's been a big part of my life and a big part of my writing, probably since Gamergate happened, now that I think about it. A lot of what I talked about when I wrote for Tech Raptor was about the importance of fans. When I worked for Bleeding Fool, a lot of what I talked about was the importance of fans. It's also gone into my writing at RT. And then when it comes to my comic books, you think about it this way. The Peregrine Inglewood crossover is only being written because you, the fan, asked for it. I looked at Optimus and Xavier in the chat of Grade 2.5, and I'm like, look guys, all you gotta do is tell me write the thing and I'll get started on it. And then bam, once they said yes, and there was such excitement from on Twitter and in YouTube chats and things like that, I'm like, this has to happen. So I'm making it happen, making sure that it happens for you guys. I took fan feedback on Inglewood and went and talked to my art team about it. So we're going to improve for you guys. But that's the thing. Look, there are two types of artists out there. There's the pretentious hippie artist who believes that everything that they create is a special snowflake and da 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 da, and is this great, wonderful, thing of expression. Then there's commercial artists, and you could be a writer, and in my opinion, be a commercial artist. You could be, pencil or ink or colorist, doesn't matter. The commercially focused artist understands that their art is expression, but at the same time, people are buying it and they like to eat. As such, what they'll do is they'll put together something that is something that people want to buy. And there's still expression, there's still a piece of themselves in that work. But at the same time, they understand who pays the bills. They understand who puts forth the money. You guys. It's why you're important. It's why I call this channel and my comic book imprint Sleeveless Comics. You guys wanted it. You guys called me the Sleeveless Wonder and all this other stuff. You latched onto the meme. So it's basically my way of acknowledging that it's a fan-oriented brand. We want to give you guys great comic books because the industry isn't interested in your money. They're not interested in your time. They're not interested in your enjoyment. Well, I am. So, there you go. So once again, before we take off, 3 Nights, 4 Days is on Indiegogo. Do not hesitate to back it. I'm also going to put on Twitter an update with the work in progress poster so that you guys who haven't backed it yet, who want to know, what you're getting into with the poster, you're going to be able to see that. I'll also put a link to that in the description for you as well. So it will be a pretty badass, in my opinion, comic, to say the least. So with all that said, though, my name is Micah Curtis, your favorite vanilla gorilla. See you next time.